interesting. And then you posted this and my jaw dropped. No different than you being 2 doors down from me, effing my...
Forget a peaceful resolution because this entire mess was a total setup from the absolute jump. We all witnessed that completely fake public apology between K. Michelle and Porsha Williams, but behind closed doors, their little truce was already completely falling apart. Trust me, the pettiness never actually stopped, it just moved straight to the group chats. Then the real chaos erupted. Secret DMs leaked everywhere, fake friends started picking sides, and messy old receipts magically reappeared right when they would cause the absolute maximum amount of career destruction. But the shadiest part of this whole disaster is a wild accusation that proves nothing about this blowout was accidental. The streets are talking, and everyone knows this wasn't just random luck, but a highly calculated blueprint designed to completely expose them.
How did you find out they were doing that?
I was told. I was told.
So this isn't like you assume, like...
Oh, please. Nobody was actually buying that peaceful act because this whole entire setup looked completely staged from the start. When Porsha Williams and K. Michelle initially sat down to address the beef, they played it completely cool, serving up forced apologies and fake accountability. For a quick second, they actually convinced the internet that their messy little feud was completely dead and buried. But behind closed doors, sources claim that phony little conveyor moment completely bombed. The vibe shifted instantly, their body language got super shady, and those friendly texts turned completely cold and distant. What was supposed to be a real truce ended up looking like a totally scripted performance.
What that means is, if you know, reality TV.
Yes.
Everything has a plot and a plan.
According to the streets, this is exactly where the plot thickened because while one girl thought they were making up, the other was busy plotting her next chess move. It was never about squashing the beef, it was about securing the ultimate strategic upper hand. That is exactly when this entire feud got incredibly messy because insiders claimed that absolutely nobody in the inner circle was buying this fake-ass truce as authentic.
The show, and then you are finally on the show, you decide this is how you're going to enter, this is how I'll make my mark, then it is what it is.
That is exactly when the friendly act completely died, exposing a highly strategic plot operating right beneath the surface. What makes this entire disaster impossible to overlook is the messy reality of how deep this bad blood actually runs. Industry insiders claim this wasn't just triggered by a single shady comment or one petty argument. This toxic storm has been brewing behind closed doors for years through minor interactions that seemed totally irrelevant back then, but now look incredibly sinister. Sources hint that long before the blogs got hold of the story, the red flags were already popping up everywhere. It wasn't an open screaming match, but absolute psychological warfare where one side thought everything was completely real while the other was secretly twisted into a totally different, bitter reality. That is precisely why the shady timeline is so crucial here, because right after that fake public apology, the whole vibe completely inverted instead of calming down. Their text messages suddenly got super tense and highly scripted. Their public reactions looked incredibly forced. And according to deep sources, specific, image-ruining rumors were strategically leaked at the exact moment they would cause maximum damage. That is when fans started demanding real answers, not just about the vicious rumors, but why they were being dragged up right now, and more importantly, which manipulative side was secretly profiting from the chaos.
Yeah, because I knew what they was trying to do. They was trying to pull up rumors about something a man said about me.
Right after that blowout, this petty feud completely exploded into a massive, organized smear campaign. Industry insiders are shouting that this wasn't just some random back-and-forth beef, but a highly calculated, toxic pattern. We are talking about old, messy drama being intentionally dragged back into the spotlight, not to fix anything, but to completely brainwash the public and ruin reputations. And once you start manipulating the audience, the entire game flips. Every single shady tweet looks totally scripted, every silent pause feels completely weaponized, and even the most basic interactions suddenly carry a massive amount of hidden malice. At the exact same time, deep sources claim the stress behind closed doors was getting absolutely insane. The pure rage wasn't just about the secret betrayal itself, but how embarrassingly messy it was playing out across the entire internet. Because the second your private dirty laundry gets leaked to the messy blogs, you completely lose the power to script the narrative. And according to the streets, that is precisely how this disaster spiraled out of control. What was supposed to be a highly handled PR stunt slowly mutated into absolute public warfare. By the time the fans even started asking real questions, the chaotic rumor mill was already running completely on its own toxic fuel. What makes this entire train wreck impossible to overlook is the crazy reality of just how deep this bad blood actually runs. Deep insiders swear this toxic storm wasn't just triggered by one shady comment or a single petty argument. This mess has been quietly brewing behind the scenes for years through minor interactions that seemed totally irrelevant back then, but now look incredibly calculated. Sources hint that long before the shade became public, the red flags were popping up everywhere. It wasn't an open screaming match, but total psychological warfare where one side thought everything was completely real while the other was secretly viewing the friendship through a bitter, twisted lens. That is precisely why the shady timeline is so crucial here, because right after that fake public apology, the whole vibe completely inverted instead of calming down. Their text messages suddenly got super tense and highly scripted. Their public reactions looked incredibly forced. And according to deep sources, specific, image-ruining rumors were strategically leaked at the exact moment they would cause maximum career destruction. That is when fans started demanding real answers, not just about the vicious rumors, but why they were being dragged up right now, and more importantly, which manipulative side was secretly profiting from the chaos. Right after that blowout, this petty feud completely exploded into a massive, organized smear campaign. The entire plot thickened beautifully because deep insiders are shouting that this wasn't just some random back-and-forth beef, but a highly calculated, toxic pattern. We are talking about old, messy drama being intentionally dragged back into the spotlight, not to fix anything, but to completely brainwash the public and ruin reputations. And once you start manipulating the audience, the entire game flips. Every single shady tweet looks totally scripted. Every silent pause feels completely weaponized. And even the most basic interactions suddenly carry a massive amount of hidden malice. At the exact same time, deep sources claim the stress behind closed doors was getting absolutely insane. The pure rage wasn't just about the secret betrayal itself, but how embarrassingly messy it was playing out across the entire internet. Because the second your private dirty laundry gets leaked to the messy blogs, you completely lose the power to script the narrative. And according to the streets, that is precisely how this disaster spiraled out of control. What was supposed to be a highly handled PR stunt slowly mutated into absolute public warfare. By the time the fans even started asking real questions, the chaotic rumor mill was already running completely on its own toxic fuel. This is exactly where the friendly act completely died, exposing a highly strategic plot operating right beneath the surface. What had been brewing quietly behind closed doors was finally exploding into public view in a way that absolutely nobody could ignore. At first, the drama dropped through minor subtweets, shady comments, and petty moments that seemed totally irrelevant on their own, but quickly formed a massive pattern. Then the entire narrative completely flipped because instead of this toxic situation calming down after that fake public apology, it totally escalated. To the public, industry insiders hint that what looked like a peaceful truce was actually just smoke and mirrors to let a much dirtier plot unfold. Shady questions started popping up everywhere. Deeply buried text messages were suddenly getting revisited. And specific, devastating accusations, ones that had previously been buried deep in the archives, began to magically reappear. Not openly, not clearly, but with just enough petty breadcrumbs for the internet to easily start connecting all the messy dots.
And I could have gone all like, well, how could you think? But I said, you know what? Respect how she feels. Whether she thinks I meant it.
According to the streets, that messy standoff exposed a massive divide in how both camps were handling the fallout. On one hand, you had a desperate attempt to squash the beef, play nice, apologize, and just move on already. But on the flip side, there was a growing suspicion that a much dirtier betrayal had already gone down behind closed doors. That is exactly when the petty drama mutated into an absolute cold war because once paranoia infects a friendship, every single move looks shady. A simple text isn't just a text anymore. A basic reaction isn't just a reaction. Absolutely everything starts looking highly weaponized. And deep insiders swear that is precisely how the entire friendship shattered. Because while they were trading jabs on the timeline, some wild accusations were quietly taking shape behind the scenes. No receipts were officially posted, but the rumors were strategically leaked to completely flip the narrative. Allegedly, the streets were whispering about a secret connection. and scandalous situation that went down entirely off camera, a shady moment that completely changed how every single past interaction was being viewed. And sitting right at the center of those messy rumors was something far more scandalous than anyone anticipated. Because the second that rumor of a secret hookup entered the chat, the internet absolutely lost its mind. The gossip spread like wildfire across every blog, every timeline, and every fan page. Suddenly, what originally looked like a basic reality TV screaming match started looking like a highly orchestrated, multi-layered setup that sources claim involved a hell of a lot more than just a little miscommunication. That is exactly when the public reactions turned absolutely unhinged. At first they tried to keep it cool and managed, but then it got incredibly loud, deeply emotional, and completely impossible to cover up.
And people like, okay, so emotional. I have the biggest heart.
Yeah.
You know, and I get mean, I crash out.
Simultaneously, K. Michelle is absolutely doubling down and refusing to back an inch away from the drama. Industry insiders claim she is showing zero signs of backing down and absolutely no interest in playing nice, which is cranking the chaos all the way up to 10. Because when one side stands completely unbothered while the other is cracking under intense pressure, the power dynamic gets wild, and that is precisely where the mental breakdown becomes obvious. What used to look like a perfectly managed PR strategy now looks like total panic. What once felt scripted now looks completely unhinged. Shady sources hint that this isn't a basic disagreement anymore. It is total psychological warfare playing out behind closed doors. Pure rage is turning into absolute exhaustion, and the immense pressure is forcing messy public outbursts. And when you have multiple storylines exploding all at once, the blog posts, the secret DMs, and the wild fan theories, it becomes totally impossible to separate the facts from the fiction. A petty comment hits way harder, a subtle reaction feels incredibly vicious, and even totally innocent moments are being taken as massive personal attacks. That is exactly what the internet is picking up on. They are not just watching a regular beef, they are witnessing a toxic shift from controlled shade to sloppy retaliation from an empire that feels completely overwhelmed. And once a celebrity scandal spirals this far out of control, there is absolutely no turning back. By now, this explosive disaster has completely broken out of the group chats and is destroying reputations in real time. Because according to the streets, what started as a simple backstage catfight between K. Michelle and Porsha Williams is now threatening something much bigger, their multi-million-dollar brands. And once the public completely turns on you, your career rarely recovers. Deep insiders suggest that the internet has completely moved past the original argument anyway. Nobody even cares about what actually went down anymore. It is entirely about who looks more guilty. And right now, the public optics are an absolute nightmare. Because when messy allegations, even totally fake ones, hit the blogs, they do not just vanish. They mutate, they get completely twisted by the fans, and they completely ruin how every single move is judged from here on out. That exact breaking point, according to sources, exposes the absolute biggest casualty in this entire mess, their public trust. Because once the internet catches you in a massive lie, a permanent wall goes up, separating the fake narrative from the exhausted audience watching the disaster unfold. Now, every single tweet is being dragged through the mud. Every silent pause looks like a massive confession of guilt, and that is where the real career destruction begins, not from any actual receipts, but from pure public perception running the entire show. Because in the messy world of celebrity gossip, a viral rumor is way more powerful than the actual truth. And honestly, we still do not have the full, unfiltered story. Because if even a fraction of these wild accusations turn out to be true, then this isn't just reality TV entertainment, it is a career-ending betrayal. So now the real question is, was this all a massive internet hallucination, or is the darkest secret still waiting to leak?